Hey everybody. Okay, so I just come through a couple of trials, mentally, spiritually. Today I'm good, but a couple of days ago I was going, reminiscing about things from my past and stuff like that, and I was remembering a time when I grew up in the country, up on hollers, and like everybody up there grew questionable plants, but I hyper focus on everything. Like when I do anything, I super zoom in on how it's done, what it needs, every detail. Like it's everybody else is like, dude, just put it in the ground to grow it, and I'm like, no, you got to know this. I'm autistic, but anyway, um, so I know that like I think strawberries, cactuses, most things grown in a swamp, they have higher pH. But like tomatoes and the questionable plants I'm talking about, they take, when I would grow indoors, the pH of the dirt and the water would be tested and treated to stay around 6.57% because that was best for optimal growth. And the nutrients that I would put in it were specifically picked out. Um, anyway, what this is about is your walk with God, right? Here's the thing. God will show you his wisdom and his knowledge and everything. For me, I was thinking about plant growth. And I was thinking about how, as I was learning my own self, I noticed, you notice people that will water their plants like every single day. But these are people just wanting a big, pretty plant. But here's the thing, it's probably an indoor plant. It's not meant to yield anything. But if you're growing like what I was growing, you want it to yield a lot. So like the optimal growth setup is you know ideal. Well, I was remembering how I grew. You know what I mean? The steps I took, the way I did it. I know that if you water a plant too much, it will shoot straight up. It will get very tall. And some people that don't know any better, they're like, look how big my plant is. But that's not a good thing if you're trying to yield. Um, so basically, it shoots straight up, but the roots don't grow as fast as the stem itself. So what happens is when a storm comes, that plant will break and blow over, or the ground is so saturated because it's too much water. The roots that it does have are not big enough for how big the plant is, and it falls over because the roots can't dig in and do anything. It's the same way with your walk with God. God does not water you too much. You go through drought spells, which are your trials, where you feel like He's distant from you. But He does this to try your endurance, your patience, to get you to wait upon the Lord. To wait upon the Lord so that He renews your strength. And just like when I was growing plants, I knew that when the sun came out or when my lights were on, my plant's leaves would point straight up at the light. Once the plant's leaves started tipping down, that was when they were starting to starve of water. I would wait like maybe 2 more days before I would water again. Because the way plants work, when they go through drought seasons out in the wild, this is when the roots would dig deeper and your plant will produce more roots to spread out wider to find moisture in the dirt. This is kind of like the part of your walk where um, you start seeking Him harder. You start fasting. You start reading the Word. Like you're like young Christians are sitting there crying on the inside and they're like praying, God, what did I do? What did I do? I've been there. I've done it. Older Christians are knowing what's going on and they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're fasting, they're praying, they're seeking. But you don't ever get ahead of God. Like, if He's got something to teach you, He's going to work it out to where you're going to have to fight for something. But here's what I'm getting at. God does this so that when the storms come, just like the parable about the house, built upon the rock and the house built upon the sand. When the waters came, the storm come, great was the fall of that house that was built on the sand. But the one built upon the rock stood steady. Same way with these plants, right? Like, if God knows better, He's the master of the vineyard, He knows better than to overwater you and give you everything you want right off the bat. He does the starving process so that your roots dig deep in Him. You know what I mean? Over time, your faith is built when you notice the things that you do in secret, the Lord rewards you openly, right? So during that drought season, you're still seeking Him, you're fasting, praying, you're doing things in secret. Then comes God with the water. And then your leaves are pointed back up at the sky, you're doing great, you feel so close to God. And then another season will come where it's like that. But over time, your endurance is built. You're being tried by fire. You're being refined into pure gold. You know what I mean? This is what builds your faith in God, because eventually you know He's always coming through for you. You know that the water's still coming. You just got to endure. And but here's the thing about this. You eventually get enough root. You didn't grow too fast. You didn't become top heavy. You didn't get the big head and crash and burn. You didn't, you got to where you could weather the storms. Your faith grew. Eventually you knew God's never leaving you. He's going to finish the work He started in you. When the storms come, you being that plant that's not too tall, you have a root base just as wide as you are tall. Not one storm's going to come that's going to blow you over. That's a strong Christian. That's also someone who's going to yield a lot of fruit. Because that person knows within themselves, the Lord that sees in secret will reward you openly. And that is a seasoned child of God. So, just hold on. Just hold on, seek, fast, pray. Keep your heart stayed on Him. Delight yourself in Him, and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Basically, I'm just getting at, even in me growing something, I wasn't in the right way back then, you know what I mean? And He uses everything in your life. Everything that happened in your life was just part of the plan. You just, you were working up to that point. Think about this. He formed you in the womb. Before you was even in the womb, He had plans for you. He knew everything He was going to do in your life. And still used it. Like that. I wasn't doing anything good. You know what I mean? I wasn't really doing something really bad. But, I was very worldly at the time. So, I was doing illegal things for profit, pretty much. But even that knowledge, God even used that to show me something. You know what I mean? And it's so true. It's true. The way that your walk with God is, He doesn't. What kind of master of a vineyard would He be if He threw you too much water knowing a storm might come? It will come. Knowing that you're going to blow over, knowing you don't have enough fruit. The parable of the seed falling on good soil, that's what this is. He talked about it, it took root, some yield 30, some 40, He's building you up to produce good fruit. Not forced fruit. Not for the wrong reasons. Not for the eyes of man, but the things He sees in secret, He rewards openly. You're not bragging to everybody. You're just doing. Your heart is good. You know what I mean? Your heart is good towards God. You're doing things for the sake of Him. You're not giving to blow a trumpet so everybody can know you did it. You give, and you don't worry about if anybody knows about it or not. You know what I mean? Your faith is in your heart is in the right place. He raised you right during those seasons. He made your roots go deep. He made you yield and produce. Can you imagine if we stopped thinking for ourselves a lot, thinking we know what's better, and we just let God do the work? Just let Him do the work. Just endure. Run the race with patience. I'm saying this like I've mastered it, but no, I'm learning it too. I'm just, I'm just telling you, like, this plant thing, it just blew me away. See, I was supposed to have done this video the other day, but I started having some troubles and just now got around to doing it. But it's pouring the rain outside right now, and there's nothing to be doing right now, so I thought I'd come out here and do it. Anyway, I just thought that was pretty neat. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you're seeing this from. And goodbye.